Ford Motor Company's chief executive says that America's labor market is in trouble. CEO Jim Farley says the company has thousands of high-paying mechanic jobs open and they can't get them filled.
Imagine pulling into your dealership tomorrow, transmission slipping, warning lights blazing, and the service advisor looks at you and says, "We can get you in 3 weeks." Not because parts are back-ordered, not because their systems are down, because there is nobody to fix your car. The lift is there, the tools are there, the bay is open, but the mechanic, gone. And here's what nobody is telling you. Ford's own CEO just went on record about it, not in a press release, not buried in an earnings call, publicly, directly, in front of the whole industry. Because the problem has gotten so bad, even the people who profit from it can no longer pretend it isn't happening. This is the story of how America's mechanic workforce quietly collapsed, and what it's going to cost every single one of us. In 2023, Ford's CEO Jim Farley stood before investors and did something CEOs almost never do. He admitted a crisis on the service side of the business. Not a supply chain problem, not a chip shortage, not an EV transition issue. A people problem, a skills problem, a pipeline that no longer exists problem. Ford isn't alone. This runs industry-wide. But Ford naming it publicly matters, because Ford is the largest employer of auto technicians through its dealership network in the United States. When they say the word shortage out loud, it lands differently. So what exactly did Farley acknowledge? That dealerships across the country are sitting on demand. Real, paying customers with real broken vehicles. And they physically cannot service them fast enough. Not because of machines, because of missing hands. The average service wait time at franchise dealerships is now 2 weeks. Not 2 days, 2 weeks. But to understand why Ford's admission matters, you have to understand what came before it. You have to go back about 40 years, to the moment the seeds of this crisis were planted in every high school in America. Here's something most people don't know about American public education in the 1980s and 90s. Schools were told, literally instructed, to push every student toward a 4-year college degree. It was a national policy shift. College for all. The trades were quietly, systematically defunded. Shop class, cut, auto programs, slashed, vocational tracks, branded for kids who couldn't make it. That stigma never left. It just grew stronger, and it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Today, over 84% of current automotive technicians say they believe schools actively discourage students from entering the trades, not passively, actively, and the numbers back it up. The 10 largest post-secondary automotive programs in the country graduated 40,658 students in 2012. By 2021, that number had fallen to just 28,866. That's a 34% drop. In a decade where car ownership hit record highs and vehicle complexity doubled, the industry needs to bring in 76,000 new technicians every single year, just to break even with retirements. It's getting roughly half that. Every year, the gap widens. Every year, the waiting rooms get longer. Every year, another service base sits dark. But here's where it gets personal. Because it's not just that young people aren't entering the field, it's that the people who already entered it are sprinting out. Let me tell you about a mechanic I'll call Marcus. 13 years in the trade, certified, fast, good. 4 weeks into a new position at a luxury dealership, management moved him off hourly pay onto flat rate. Flat rate sounds fair, until it isn't. Here's how it works. The manufacturer sets a book time for every repair. Change a water pump? Book says 1.2 hours. Whether it takes you 45 minutes or 4 hours, you get paid for 1.2 hours. On a good day, that math works in your favor. But then Marcus got handed a diesel emissions recall. Book time, half an hour. Every experienced tech in that shop knew it ran closer to 5. When he raised it with the service manager, the response was, "Get it done or find something else to do." Marcus had his toolbox loaded onto a truck within the hour. 6 months later, he was doing industrial maintenance, earning $10 more per hour, with benefits, with sick days that didn't cost him money. His last message, you can keep those cars. That story is not the exception. It's the rule. The average automotive technician earns $28.40 an hour. Entry-level mechanics make between $10,000 and $20,000 less annually than entry-level HVAC techs or electricians doing comparable skilled work. Now add what it costs to get in. Trade school, often $30,000 or more. And unlike almost every other profession, mechanics are expected to supply their own tools, with a full set running $50,000 or higher over a career. Then factor in the flat rate trap, where illness or injury means zero pay, Factor in warranty reimbursement, where over 80% of technicians say manufacturers pay them unfairly for work that takes the same skill as retail repairs. Repair costs for consumers rose 59% over the last decade. Technician wages rose 34%. Someone is getting that difference, and it isn't the person holding the wrench. The economics are broken, and the people who built their careers inside this system know it. The baby boomer generation built the American auto service industry. They learned on carburetors and distributor caps. They diagnosed by sound, by smell, by feel. An instinct that took decades to develop and cannot be downloaded or fast-tracked. Right now, they are retiring at a rate of 9% annually. By 2029, the automotive sector will have lost 4% of its entire technician workforce to retirement. That's over 100,000 job openings. With no line of candidates waiting to fill them, think about what walks out the door with every retirement. Not just labor hours, institutional memory, pattern recognition honed over thousands of cars, the ability to hear a knock and know, before running a single diagnostic, exactly what's wrong. You can't replace that with a faster software update. And here's the cruel irony at the center of this whole story. Just as the most experienced generation of mechanics is leaving, the vehicles they worked on are becoming radically, incomprehensibly more complex. The timing couldn't be worse. The automotive industry's solution to nearly everything right now is the electric vehicle. And EVs bring a paradox that no one in the industry wants to talk about clearly. Traditional internal combustion vehicles contain roughly 2,000 moving parts. A fully electric vehicle has around 20. That's not a typo. It's 100 times fewer mechanical components. On the surface, that sounds like a mechanic's dream. Fewer parts, fewer failures, simpler repairs. Except it doesn't work that way, because when EVs break, they break in ways that require computer science degrees, not torque wrenches. The skill set flips entirely. Over 50% of independent repair shops report turning away EV business. Because they don't want it, but because they can't access the vehicle's computer systems without expensive proprietary manufacturer software. The older techs who built careers on mechanical intuition, many are refusing to retool. And the younger techs who could adapt, they're choosing careers in tech, healthcare, or skilled trades that pay better and punish them less. California, America's largest auto market, has already seen licensed independent shops drop by over 13% since 2014. Nearly 32,000 California mechanics are projected to lose work by 2040. If combustion engine sales end, less frequent servicing, more expensive diagnostics, a shrinking talent pool, higher costs pass directly to you. So what does all of this mean for the person who just needs their car fixed? It means the 2-week wait you're experiencing today is the best it's going to be for a long time. Modern vehicles are more reliable than ever. Over 90% stay problem-free through the first 3 years. But when they fail, the complexity that made them reliable makes the repair exponentially more expensive. A faulty electronic control module, $900 to $2,200 just for parts. Before a technician can even identify the problem, you're looking at a diagnostic fee of $75 to $200. More complex engine bays, more labor hours against a shrinking workforce, higher prices, longer waits. The infrastructure exists, the demand exists, the broken cars are right there in the lot. What doesn't exist anymore is the workforce to fix them. And that's not an accident, that's the result of 40 years of decisions. By school systems, by manufacturers, by dealerships, by an entire industry that treated skilled tradespeople as interchangeable line items, rather than irreplaceable professionals. Jim Farley's admission wasn't a warning shot, it was a post-mortem. The mechanic crisis isn't coming, it's here, and it was built, brick by brick, through decades of telling young people that working with their hands was a consolation prize, through a compensation structure that rewards speed over skill and punishes human biology, through a cultural narrative that elevated the college counselor and sidelined the shop teacher, through an industry that extracted everything from its workforce and offered back just enough to keep the bays running, until it wasn't enough anymore. The bays are empty now, your wait is getting longer, and the next time your engine light comes on, you'll feel exactly how real this crisis has become. If this is the truth they're not telling you, hit subscribe, because there's a lot more they're not telling you.